Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And I hope you guys sat on your hands today. Absolutely nothing really to do. We saw the big move down in the morning, and of course, I was a lot of emails about, ooh, hey, this could get interesting. And then it really didn't get all that interesting at all. It just slowly started to work its way back up. Big sharp move down again in the day, and you know what? The markets really, they were literally just playing with people today. Not a lot coming into a 3-day weekend. Keep that in mind. We are back on Tuesday. I will have my video out probably Sunday, maybe Monday. We'll see if I get busy this weekend. But regardless, just nothing to do today. Big red candle, followed by a bunch of little tiny candles working their way back up right to about a 50%, 61.8% retrace on the fib level if I'm just eyeballing it here. Not nothing to trade. Had to turn to some equities. Now Apple had a great break. We'll get to that in a while here, but I saw a really nice trade. Got in on a really nice trade on Apple today. Outside of that, nothing doing in the markets. You can see the Dow here moving back up. It did finish right up there towards that 10,100 area. Notice too that it did come down, maybe kind of test this upper trend line. I mentioned that we would probably see that at some point. It's still, it's not exact. I would really like it to be a little bit more exact than that. It's just very sloppy price action here. The thing to note, though, is that we are still above that overhead trend line. So it did hold there for a couple of days. That was important. That's always important to see. Once you break a resistance area, always nice to see a couple days of the action hold. We still have a lot of overhead resistance above us, so it's got a lot of work to do come next week. Starting on the NDX, it was actually pretty strong today. We saw some pretty good action in the Nasdaq today, and it was the only indice that finished up. So once again, we have a divergence in the markets. We have the Nasdaq going up and the other two going down. If the Nasdaq is a leading indicator, which I like to think of it as, we may see some more up action to the other markets before whatever the next move is happens. Any break above this 1790 area certainly puts things back in at least the bull's hands in the short term. We could be seeing a 1, sideways 2, 1, 2. This could be the start of a 3-wave up. Guess we won't know till Tuesday. But it is the potential. And the reason I say that is because we're watching on all of the indices these bear flags, these channels. And the news, not the news I should say, but blogs and things people are sending me all seem to be bearish. So when I hear a lot of people talking bearish, I always take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and say, is there another argument there? And sure enough, there is. This could be a 1, sideways 2, 1, 2. This could be the start of a 3-wave up. Certainly isn't all that impressive right now. You usually see a lot more power in your 3 waves, but that opportunity and that option is certainly on the table for this. A break above 1790 may be what is needed to get the catalyst going. The bears will cover and the bulls take charge. So watch this carefully coming into next week. We'll talk more about that this weekend. Here we have the NASDAQ on a daily coming up, hitting this overhead resistance area. Tackle that more this weekend as well. On a weekly, we are back to the 20-week moving average. That is 1776, 1777. We're about 3 points above it on a weekly basis. That's basically on it in my book. So a possible potential reversal here. We saw it on last week's doji. Now let's see if we get any follow-through coming into next week. SPX on a 60-minute doing the same thing, following this channel up. It looks like a big bear flag right now, but we could see a break above this area. If we do, above 1085 is your mark. That is still my place to get long on the SPX coming into next week. But no motion overall this for the entire week. Little duck to the downside, and then just a slow grind up to kind of end the week. So you can see we did the same thing. Potential reversal candle here, little white candle here, but it didn't even make it back to the 28-week moving average. Finishing at 1075, this is 1079 or 1089 up here with that 1085 looming heavy overhead. So we'll watch that very closely this weekend. The VIX doing this little double take. Remember I mentioned yesterday how the MACD was really turning sharply on this thing? We saw it again, a lot of volatility bleeding out of this thing today. So as long as the markets move up, this VIX will continue to lose ground. Fear comes out of the markets. People aren't quite so worried when they see markets going up. And that's what we saw at the end of this week as well. They managed to keep it up at a half decent level, even though it was down for the day, only slightly. So not a lot of fear in the markets. From a weekly standpoint, more chop. Now, weekly looks like a little bit of a bull pullback. So from a weekly standpoint, it looks like we're just in a bull pullback. That'll be kind of negated if we ever finish down here in the 20-ish area for me. Apple on a 60. This was it. This was the trade right here, right above this area. I was watching this play out today, and this gave us a good break up, a pullback to that area, and then this is where I caught it actually. I caught it up and above 200 and played it up into the 201 plus area before finally getting stopped out on my day trade. But this was a really, really good play, and there was a lot of good power coming into the markets at this time. So Apple gave us at least something to do today. From a daily standpoint, you can see why this was my overhead target. We came right up to the 201.77 area, which is the 50-day moving average. The high of the day, 201.64, 201.77. So I was definitely moving up my stops as we closed in on this overhead resistance. Was able to make about a buck and a half or so. I got in just over the 200 area and rode it up from there. So good action in Apple from a day, from an intraday standpoint. Daily, still just lots of chop. Now we did make it on a weekly up and over and close above this 20-week moving average. So at least Apple has something to be cheerful about there, but not a major move. Look at these candles down, just little tiny candles up. I'm not seeing any strength in Apple right now. Be very careful if you're long this for the long term. BA, we saw a little bit of movement this week where we were able to get in kind of earlier on in the week, up and over this trend line here. But honestly, guys, no play here. This did not play out the way I wanted it to. I wanted to break above here or break below here. We got neither one of those. Baidu on a 60-minute. This has been a very ugly trade too with that big gap up. I just stand aside and let it do what it's going to do. I don't play around with this. Just whatever. Once it gaps up like this, it's best if you just stand aside and let it play itself out. And once it starts to move again and give us some real direction, then we'll try to jump back in. So this trade didn't work out as well as I wanted to with that big gap up. From a Dell standpoint here, this one was waiting for a break over 14, gap down, move back up, so no trade on this at all. If you played this over 1350, that was your trade this week. If you got out at the end of the week, you made a little bit of money on it, but not as powerful a move as I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked to have seen this thing get up and over 14 and run for a while. We still may see that next week if the markets continue to climb. Once again, eyeballing it. I'm not an EW expert here, but this could be a 1, 2, 3 with a 4 pullback here with a 5 left to come, and that would put us right up here in the 1425 to 1450 area, which was my call to the overhead. So it might take another week or so to get to that area. Something to keep an eye on for next week. Over 14 is your entry. FAS moving sideways, up 11 cents. 11 cents by the time the day was done. Just not even worth looking at right now. Here below this overhead resistance, FAS doing the same thing, down 3 cents. Chopping sideways. These are not stocks to be playing right now. Wait for the more major breaks. We'll talk more about it this weekend. Home Depot, this one I liked, up over 28.50. We tried it again this week and we got it, but we cannot push past this 29. I may keep this one on. This is the second week we've had this on here, and I think I might even keep it on for a third week. I really like what I'm seeing up here. The fact that it's staying up in this area is good for the bulls for the time being. When it breaks this 28.25 area, I'm done with the trade. But for right now, we took a trade above 28.50 and we ran it up for 50 cents this week. If you want to start again, try Tuesday. Let's see where this thing goes. But I'm looking for a break up and over 29 for this one. And that'll do it for the week. That'll do it kind of for the weekly wrap up. Just choppy action. Look at this daily stuff that we were watching. Here was the big hammer come Friday, move down on Monday, move up since then. So we moved up all week long, but very, very small incremental moves. No power at all by the bulls. So I would use a lot of caution up here in this area. Be very careful coming into next week. We'll talk more about it this weekend, but if you held over the weekend and you were looking to maybe get out on Tuesday, good luck. Kind of gambling on your part. So be very careful come Tuesday, what you've got. Now remember, we are closed Monday, but the world isn't closed Monday. The markets will be open from a future standpoint come Monday, and we could open up to a 20 point up, 20 points down, or flat. Who knows where we could end up on Tuesday? But the possibility exists for a bigger move one way or the other, just based on the fact that Monday will still be there will still be trading going on based on the futures and the rest of the world markets. So if any bad news hits this next weekend, we could open up 20, 30 points down. So continue to watch your charts even on Monday if you're especially if you're a futures person, or if you know how to bring up the futures on your charts. Make sure you check out the futures come Monday. Just kind of watch them during the day every now and then we'll pay more attention to them come Tuesday night into Tuesday morning, or Monday night into Tuesday morning, and see what we can gather. See you again this weekend. Have a great one. Bye.